Good morning and welcome to this third week of the adventure. Finally, grab your camera and congratulate yourself because you just spent 2 tiny weeks in your lifetime as a photographer without your proper camera. And I really hope, and let me know in the comments how it went, I really hope that you saw a shift in your perception of things around you, of the light, of the subjects, of the stories, of your compositions, of what you could be shooting and how. This week, the goal is going to turn this bad boy into our best friend. So I want you to be proficient with your camera. I want you to have your eyes closed and be able to dial in the right settings for the effect that you're trying to get into your photos. Again, this is a tool in order to achieve your creative vision. I call this week the dip, the most difficult, for the simple reason that you might be in 2 categories right now. So the first category is if you're proficient with your camera, you're already advanced, you're shooting manual all the time, and you might get confused this week as to why you're doing some exercises because you think you know it all. Now, the second category of people is going to be the total beginner, meaning you have no clue how to use your camera, you don't know what settings to use, etc. And that might be very confusing. There might be a lot of information for you, but fear not. In either case, this week is very important. You know, progressing just 1% every day gets you a very long way. Over a year, you're going to get way better than the guy who tries to cramp up everything in 2 days. Why am I reminding you of that? For the simple reason that even if you know everything about your camera, if you're in the group one that is very proficient with your camera, I can tell you that going back to those exercises might unlock something you never thought about before, something you've always going through so quickly because you know it that you don't take the time to rethink about it. I personally go through those kind of exercises all the time in order to try to unlock either new techniques or new ideas for photos. So if I'm still doing it, I think you should definitely get to it. And if you're a total beginner, you'll see the progression, the way I built it, just like the rest of the course, is very progressive. I'm giving you small exercises that are very digest, and by the end of the week, you'll be proficient with your camera. So, in order to have those exercises work the best, we need to set 4 parameters together in our camera. So grab your camera, and the first thing you're going to be doing is set your light meter mode. Meaning the metering mode must be set in center average mode. What is a light metering mode? It's basically how your camera is going to analyze the light and thus expose the photo for you to get the right exposure. Okay, so we need to have the same for this week, because if we change it, then it's going to change the parameters and we're not going to get the benefits of the exercises that we're going to go through. And if you're curious, center average simply means that your camera is mainly going to take and measure the light in the center, and it's going to slowly fade out towards the corner. So the more centered you are, the more important that area is going to be for the camera when measuring light. Now, second setting is the focus area. I want you to go into flexible spot mode or single point, depending on the camera that you have. Why is that? Simply because I always want you to be in control of where your focus will be done. If you leave it up to the camera to be in full matrix or full width of the sensor, then the camera will decide where you're gonna focus. But remember, where you focus is exactly where the viewer will look at first. So please make sure you go in single point or flexible spot, as you want to call it. We can move it around on the screen. It is a mode that I'm using 98% of the time for my photos. And you will see for this week, it's going to be great to be in control of where we put that focus point. The third setting is going to be the ISO. For now, unless I say otherwise, just leave it in auto, okay? So put your ISO in automatic and don't touch them for the rest of the week. And last but not least, parameter number 4 I want you to change is to shoot in RAW. RAW, it simply means those are raw photos. They haven't been treated into JPEG. You have a lot more liberty when it's going to come to editing. You can change the white balance. You're going to have a higher range of flexibility when editing your photos, and that is very important, again, to achieve your creative vision. As an artist, remember, this is a tool. This is where your creative vision is. We're just using that to get this out to the world and show it to people. Now, if you don't have a camera yet, First of all, I've dropped a bunch of guides for you to be able to choose maybe your next camera or your gear, your next lens, accessories, all that. It will be available this week. There is a whole section dedicated to gear, so feel free to dig into it. But don't get distracted by it, because I know it's very easy to go down that rabbit hole of just looking at gear for hours. I just love doing that too. We're all guilty of it. So if you don't have a camera for now, take your phone again and download an application called Lightroom Mobile and use the camera that is built in. You can set all the parameters, you can set the shutter speed, the aperture, you can set the ISO, everything manually. It's going to be very, very helpful for this whole week. Now, I want to wish you good luck for this week. Remember, don't be cocky, stay humble, and try to practice. It's going to make a very big difference. It might unlock that 1% you never thought about, that's really going to open a new landscape into your art. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Let's get right into it with day 15.